What would happen if Sasuke Uchiha were to evolve his Sharingan to the point of a mysterious source of power entering his body? This would be, obviously, his form of Sage Mode, which Indra Otsutsuki had originally found out due to him releasing his hatred from the Sharingan. So this obviously changes the whole process of how the Sharingan works. Usually, normal Sharingan works on negative emotions like sadness, hatred, or sorrow, but this time, Sasuke now uses positive emotions like his love, his happiness, or his pleasantries, I guess you could say. But yeah, last time we left off when Sasuke and the rest of Team 7 had passed the second part of the Chunin exams. But without further ado, guys, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alright, so we pretty much resumed this what if a little bit at the start of the preliminaries. Kabuto had forfeited due to the fact that he was fighting stronger opponents, or at least that's what he said. He said that he was fighting stronger opponents and he was a little bit injured, so he would be at a disadvantage. So he were to forfeit, all the team placements, like the fighting placements, would go relatively the same. Sasuke versus Yoroi, Naruto versus Kiba, Gaara versus Lee, Shikamaru versus Kin, and Choji versus Dosu. All the other fights would just be the same as the canonical timeline. We'll be going over the Sasuke versus Yoroi fight. Sasuke would jump down the arena as he was ready. He didn't even need the Sharingan to win this battle, but just in case he might. Once the proctor would say, "Start," Sasuke would run towards Yoroi as his Sharingan would activate, not letting Yoroi use his abilities or any secret abilities he might possess. He then start throwing hands with Yoroi keeping up at a relative pace, but before Sasuke would activate Sharingan to the 3 Tomoe, as something weird would happen. Yoroi would be like, "These eyes don't look like the usual Sharingan, they're purple," as Sasuke would gain an aura of just the purple, similar to a Susanoo aura in a sense. But what would happen next is Sasuke would then disappear, as pretty much Yoroi would be shocked. How did he disappear from his line of sight? He had blinked and Sasuke was already gone. He then felt his gut being kicked as he looked down with Sasuke's foot implanting into his stomach. He then spit out a bunch of saliva as he would be sent flying in the air. Sasuke would make 2 Shadow Clone Jutsus, as 2 of the Shadow Clone Jutsu would kick him down before Sasuke would then use the Lion's Barrage, knocking out Yoroi. Sasuke would then be pronounced the winner of the match, as we'll be going over the rest of the matches. Naruto would win relatively the same way as he did in the canon, with him farting in Kiba's face, and that gave him the advantage as he had copied Sasuke's Lion Barrage and used it as the Uzumaki Barrage, and he defeated Kiba. Next, we'll be going over Gaara versus Lee. Sasuke had been watching Gaara as he had heard a voice in his head. It was Indra. Indra had explained to him that Gaara is a Jinchuriki of the Shikaku, the One Tails, as he tells Sasuke to be wary. Gaara might try something dirty-handed. As he continued to watch the fight, with him copying some of Lee's moves with his 3 Tomoe Sharingan, which he would copy more of since he has 3 Tomoe, not like 2 Tomoe, but he understands nonetheless that he can't really use the 8 gates, as Indra would explain to him that the 8 gates can't be used for him since he has too much chakra, so he'll probably only be able to go up to the first gate before he would pop like a pimple. So pretty much what would happen is Sasuke would keep watching the fight until he would see Lee about to get his legs crushed. Sasuke would then appear in between them as he would stop the attack from Gaara just with his pure aura, as he would have picked up Lee before then putting him gently on the floor before standing over him almost in a protective stance, as Sasuke would then tell Gaara that was too far. You should put your tailed beast in control. As he would then walk away, as Gaia would then thank Sasuke. He had saved Lee from a major injury, as he thanks Sasuke for his eternal youth. Obviously, Sasuke would smile before saying, it was no problem, as he would walk back to the stance. He would then sit down, as Kakashi would then say, "So, Sasuke, you saw what he was gonna do, right? You should probably train a little bit after this. You might be fighting him. I see the Hokage and the Kazekage might put you together in a battle because they simply see the two strongest, and they, a lot of people would like that entertainment. So maybe after this we could all train together as a team and all." As Sasuke would nod his head, as that'll be the end of the preliminary part of the Chunin exams. Hiruzen would collect everyone, as he would congratulate everyone, but he says there are too many people who passed, as he said there will be a finale round about 1 month from now. They should use his time wisely to basically train. As so what would happen is something weird would happen. Sasuke would then tell Kakashi that he needs to do something by himself, as he had told Kakashi to possibly train Naruto. He was gonna fight Neji, a Hyuga prodigy, so he'd probably need the most help he could get, as he had looked towards Sakura, as he had told her that he sees potential in her when it came to the genjutsu side of shinobi, as obviously Sakura, still being greatly infatuated with him, would obviously try to take up his advice. Sasuke would then just walk away. Now, if you're wondering, what's Sasuke gonna do in this month? Well, what he's gonna do is, I'd say, I'm gonna have him, kind of do some investing into himself type thing, meditating, trying to train his sage mode a little more, trying to, how do I say this, control the curse mark, so he takes Orochimaru from the part of the steel so he can just use it. So he would try to unlock the second form of the curse mark. He had only had the portion where he had only his Sharingan changing color and aura. He wanted to pretty much become stronger. He had realized something. He had realized he had potential in swordsmanship, so he was gonna ask Indra to train him in swordsmanship. He had went to a welder and requested for him to make a katana. As the welder, knowing Sasuke, he would obviously accept this. Sasuke was pretty well known in the village and everyone had respect for him. As Sasuke would thank him before saying he'll be back in a few hours. Sasuke would then go to the Hokage's towers as he would begin to meditate. He'd begin to try to find inner peace and be at ultimate compatibility with his mind and body, as pretty much he'll start to meditate for a few hours, speaking to Indra and trying to learn more about the Uchiha's history, as obviously Indra would start to teach him stories and lessons and other wisdoms like that, as Sasuke would gladly accept. Sasuke would smile at himself. He was looking at himself in the mirror, and he had seen that he had greatly changed from the boy who had just wanted to kill his brother. Now he was going to possibly save everyone else from facing the same circumstance. Now, if you guys don't know why would Sasuke do this, it's stated psychologically, if someone were to go through a traumatic incident like your family dying or one of your relatives dying, you start to lose control, and you want to regain control, and by doing that you start to help others so they don't go through the same thing. This is literally the same thing that Aiden Pierce goes through. His niece dies, he loses control, so he gains control by helping everyone else and trying to be the hero. Once he gains control, he would stop his acts of vigilantism. Well, that was a weird tangent I went on, but I was trying to give an analogy or a comparison. So Sasuke would kind of feel relatively the same. He had lost control over his own life, and now he didn't want to be blind. He wanted to go on the right path, something his parents would wish. As he would go over to the Uchiha compound, as he would walk in, he had been given letters and wills by his parents, but he had never opened them. He had been blinded by grief and anger that he had never truly had any time to open them. He had opened the letter as he would be shocked, as Fugaku was writing. It was something Fugaku wrote in his last moments of life before Itachi came and slaughtered them. It had wrote that Fugaku felt sorrow. He didn't want to do the coup d'etat, but he felt it was necessary. Nobody respected the Uchiha clan, and nobody thought they were responsible enough to do most of the duties in the village, even though they were the founding clan of one of the founding clans of the Leaf Village. They had felt neglection from the Leaf, which is what led to their possible coup d'etat. As Sasuke would be reading this, he would feel something run down his face. This would be his tears. He had silently been crying the whole time. He hadn't seen how Fugaku felt and how the rest of his clan felt. He had realized if they were starting a coup, it would seem reasonable for Itachi to kill them. It doesn't seem like Fugaku is changing anything of his ideals here, or is changing the reason of doing the coup d'etat. So what if... No, I shouldn't think of it. Itachi killed them. He said it was for his own power, but maybe he just did it because he didn't want the coup to start. I mean, he could have done it in a more reasonable sense. Something was weird. Shisui, who had always been about causing peace and civilization, like being civil, he had died a few weeks before the massacre, which was even more confusing. Maybe he would start to theorize. Maybe Shisui and Itachi were trying to help coup from starting, but in the end, only dug themselves deeper, causing Itachi to feel pressed and need to kill the Uchihas. After this, he would close the letter and he would then head back to the welder's shop, where he would pick up the katana. What would happen next is Sasuke would go to the training ground of the Uchiha clan, like the house in the backyard, as he would start to meditate. He would then see someone form. He had made a shadow clone, and then shadow clone slowly but surely changed into the form of Indra. Indra had told him that he had experiences in Kendo, so he should be able to teach Sasuke how to use the sword in their time. As he would tell Sasuke, you also need to get your second form. How you get this form as something along the lines of accepting yourself, accepting that you are who you are based on your past experiences. Sasuke would nod his head, as during the whole fight, Indra would ask him pressing and personal questions, as he says, why do you want to kill Itachi? Why do you want to restore the clan? Is it for yourself? Is it for ambition? He's asking questions to Sasuke, and Sasuke is trying his best to answer, but he's in a fight. So obviously, they would go through the whole battling as Sasuke would find his morals and his resolve. He would accept himself as, once they were clashing, Indra had caught him off guard before. Sasuke would widen his eyes as there'd be an explosion, not explosion, but an output of chakra leaving his body, or this being sage energy. There'd be a gust of wind as Sasuke would then be revealed. His skin kind of turned a little bit purple as his Sharingan had evolved into the Mangekyo. His sword had gained an aura, and so did the rest of his body, getting the form of the second form of the curse mark. He had grown wings on his back, as if someone were to look at him now, they would scream in horror from what they saw. Sasuke, he had felt some type of elegance from this form of his. As he would then continue fighting with Indra, trying to master the form, he had felt the extreme power boost from going from 10 times to 100 times. He had then started to feel the power as he would start to, start to focus his emotions. He had felt the power of love, the love he had for Yumiko and for his brother, not his brother, but not Itachi, but his brother Naruto. He had seen Naruto as a brother, as he would continue clashing with Indra, as Indra would start to feel the rise in emotion, the rise in power coming from Sasuke, as he would start to smile. As he would suddenly stop, as Sasuke would be mid-swing, as he would just be confused. Why did he stop fighting? As Indra says, "It seems you did it." As he would tell Sasuke to look at his reflection, as what he would see is he would bring up his sword and he would see the Mangekyo. It was fading, not fading, but it was switching from 3 to 1 to Mangekyo rapidly, as Indra would say, "You need to control it." This type of Mangekyo is completely different from the usual. It's not the grief of the loss, but it's the acceptance. See, now you accept it, so try to stay like that. Sasuke would try to focus his chakra into his eyes, as it would suddenly stay into his Mangekyo. Sindra would say, "Good. You like the form?" As he would see, it had his usual Mangekyo shape, but it was just simply purple. As Indra would say, "Would you like me to explain the abilities of the Mangekyo?" As Sasuke would nod his head, as Indra would start. Indra would then explain to Sasuke that there was multiple abilities that came with the Mangekyo, and there was something unique with Sasuke. Due to all the Sage Chakra he now possesses, it's sort of like merging with his Sharingan, kind of transforming it so he would never really go blind. If he wishes to, he could gain the Eternal Mangekyo for the perfect Susanoo, but that's pretty much it. He'd probably gain another small abilities like making meteors or some shit like that, but that's really the Rinnegan, but one day, bro, one day. But he would start to explain to Sasuke what the abilities are, like Amaterasu, his Susanoo, which he would only be able to make the rib cage, actually, never mind. He would just explain the Susanoo and what it was. He would then, Indra would then show him what the Susanoo was, but Sasuke really couldn't do it. I was about to have Sasuke get the Susanoo there, but I have a better place. I'm gonna have it in a different arc, a filler arc actually. But he would then explain the abilities of Tsukuyomi, but obviously Sasuke wouldn't have this. He would have a similar Genjutsu, would be as powerful as Tsukuyomi. He would then also have the flame control. You can put out the flames and control into a shape or form. Sasuke would be proud at his development. He had thanked Indra as he would go back. He had went through the letters. He would find one. It was from Yumiko. It was before she left, when she was about 8 years old. So he would start to read the letter, as it was obviously her telling him where she was going next in the town. Let's just say this will be the same town where Tsunade was found in the canonical timeline. Sasuke would realize that he should probably go find her. She was like his childhood friend, so why wouldn't he? As pretty much we'll do a time skip for 1 month. He had been training and working hard to gain his power, and now he was formidable. He had gained a new outfit. He had gotten the usual Shippuden form with the purple ropes around his pants, and he had gotten something else. He'd gotten a desert type cloak, which he had really thought fit. He really liked the way it looked. He had saw about a new organization called the Akatsuki, and he saw the way their cloaks were designed, so he kind of got something similar. Not that he actually actively supported it, but who knows? One day he might run into them. He would then wake up the next day, as he would put on his clothes and head towards the arena. Now, once he would get there, he would see Naruto, the rest of the contestants. Now, what would happen is in this time, Naruto would train with Jiraiya and Kakashi. Kakashi would help Naruto do his summoning jutsu with Jiraiya, and Kakashi actually teaching Naruto a certain technique, this being the Rasengan. Obviously, Sasuke, in this time, not learning the Chidori, he would be able to learn a form of it soon. Let's just say that. It's not called the Chidori, but he would just be manipulating lightning to a sword, and it'll even be more stronger than the Chidori. As what would happen is once he would get there, he would then, he would say hello to Naruto. Naruto would say hey back, as they would start to converse until the proctor would explain to them what they'll be doing in this afternoon. The proctor would then explain that the team placements, with Naruto fighting Neji, Sasuke fighting Sasuke fighting Gaara. God, I lost my wording there. Dosu would not be there, obviously, so he would just be disqualified. Shino is fighting Kankuro, Temari's fighting Shikamaru, and I believe that's it. I was like, for a second, my mind just blanked out. But pretty much, we see Naruto fighting Neji. The fight would go relatively the same, but usually Naruto, when he did its final attack, would just use the Rasengan, which would clash with the Katen, or the palm rotation technique, which would then cause a huge explosion, with Naruto and Neji falling on the floor, but Naruto, due to his will, would stand up onto his knees and slowly get up with the last bits of his energy, before he would fall over and be pronounced the winner. After this, Sasuke would smile seeing the battle. He had seen the progression that Naruto went through, and he was sort of proud. You didn't really see Naruto as his equal, as he was profoundly stronger than Naruto in every way, but he had liked the way Naruto fought, with love and compassion, something he was wishing he could do. After the fight, we'll be going over the rest of the fights, like Shikamaru vs Temari, which would go relatively the same, since Sasuke getting Sage Mode wouldn't affect Shikamaru not much, so enough to actually want to win the fight. Next one would then be Shino vs Kankuro. Shino's bugs would just, absorb the chakra from the links from Kankuro and his dolls, leaving Kankuro defenseless, as Shino would win. Then, the match we had all been waiting for. It would have been Sasuke versus Gaara. Alright guys, I'm gonna fuck you over, so this will actually be the end of this part of what if Sasuke attained Sage Mode early, or Sasuke Journey of a Liberator. But without further ado guys, I hope you liked this video. Like and subscribe, and comment down below for more possible ideas with this what if, or more other what if ideas. But without further ado guys, this is Bleach Unbound, signing out.